Thank you for joining us here on KEXP, where the music matters. I'm Cheryl Waters, and so proud to be down here in our studio, supported by our listeners. Thanks to everyone who creates a space for great music here on KEXP. And I'm so excited to have live in the studios with me today, NoSo. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
We are so happy to have you here, and Stay Proud of Me has been on constant play for me since it came out this summer. I'm very excited to hear you play these songs live. You want to start us off with some music and then we'll chat?
Absolutely.
It's NoSo live on KEXP.
Paintings on the wall, they made one of me. Feeling like a woman lately. They're what it could have been, a soft mirror image. They won't know me, but I'm hoping.
I love that. You're listening to NoSo live on KEXP. Stay Proud of Me, out on Partisan Records.
juice while hitting onto my face. I had a dream, you look pretty and familiar. You've been busy and too important for me. No, oh no, oh right about who you are. How you listen without malice. You're make believe. Honey, understand it's me against the crowds. Honey, understand it's me. I'm falling. Honey, understand I'm thinking out loud. Honey, understand you won't know me, but I'm in northern Italy. The pieces of the shoreline sweep up to hug you and push me through the red light. I pull my hair and weep as a warning sign. Wake me gingerly, I depersonalize. No, oh no, oh right about who you are. How you listen without malice. You're make believe. Honey, understand it's me against the crowds. Honey, understand it's me. I'm falling. Honey, understand I'm thinking out loud. Honey, understand you won't know me, but I'm. Honey, understand it's me against the crowds. Honey, understand it's me. I'm falling. Honey, understand I'm thinking out loud. Honey, understand you won't know me, but I'm proud.
You're listening to NoSo live on KEXP.
What keeps me up? I've been thinking of you. I kept my pants on. You rolled your eyes and your dress off. We're intertwined on your air mattress. The peeling candids of Siberia on the walls. Felt like my body for the first time. No way. Said I look nice that day. I'm sorry I laughed when you kissed my chest. Like a vacuum for lying about it. By standards I should have taken you when you asked. Kiss my cheek twice, lay in silence. I compliment you too much. Felt like my body for the first time. No way. Said I look nice that day. I'm sorry I laughed when you kissed my chest. Like a vacuum.
Oh, so wonderful. NoSo's here with us live in the KEXT studios playing songs from the new album, Stay Proud of Me.
Found a way to a parallel world. Ceremony swirl up to the sky. The whole town watching while I'm changing right to lavender dust. They applaud me. Envious of straight hips, tangling nerves, simple hymns. Oh, I couldn't swim fast enough, but I made it out halfway done. You feel my eyes will I watch you move slowly, dancing crowds dancing. You feel my eyes when my body moves without me, laughing about it, laughing about. You feel my eyes while I watch you move slowly, dancing through crowds, dancing. You feel my eyes while my body moves without me, laughing about it, laughing about it, laughing about it,
We're live here in the KEXP studios with NoSo, performing songs from the fabulous new album, Stay Proud of Me. Thank you so much. That sounded amazing.
Oh, thank you for having us.
So fun to have you here in the studio after listening to the album for so many months. And it sounds like music has been a way for you to process and express your feelings since you were pretty young. What was your relationship with music when you were growing up?
I started on guitar for a long time, and I went to public schools that had really amazing budgets for music. And so I had incredible music teachers throughout my whole adolescence. And it wasn't really until my family moved from Chicago to LA when I was in the middle of high school that I felt like isolated and kind of alienated. And it felt like I was able to write songs that were more personal, because prior to that I would just write joke songs. But it's always been guitar, and then it was my voice and developing confidence and strength in not only singing but being more vulnerable with storytelling. And I feel like every day I still feel like I'm inching towards being more courageous.
You do feel confident and strong on this record, and I had read that the songs had been written over a period of time. I imagine you were growing and writing about your experiences over those years. And I know that you recorded the album over quarantine and also shortly after you had top surgery. So I imagine that was a pretty emotional time. Can you describe what the process of making the record was like for you, what it felt like during that strange time?
Absolutely. I basically had signed back in 2019, and over the course of the few years after that, I wrote so many songs. I'm going to say like 50 or 60, but it just felt like it was drafts to get to the final song. Like even when I was writing those kind of poopy songs, I knew that there was one at the end of the tunnel that I wanted. And so from there, we deducted the 10 songs, and I feel like I grew immensely as a person during that period of time. I learned new instruments for the record to record, and also with getting surgery, I was very, very vulnerable about it, and I actually was I didn't tell anyone pretty much, and I wasn't public about it. And through the album campaign, sort of naturally, I started tiptoeing towards even admitting I was trans and non-binary, and saying it out loud was kind of all done through the process of the campaign, which is interesting, the timing of that. But I just felt like something clicked in me where I knew I was writing about these very specific topics, and I felt like I had to be brave about explaining what the songs mean as opposed to being ambiguous about it.
I love how brave you are in these songs. I'd love for you to talk about the song Parasites, which is so wonderful and just describes the struggles and beauty of identity so tenderly. Can you talk about how that song came together for you?
Yeah. I recorded the instrumental in my DAW, and it sat there shelved for months. And I just didn't know what I wanted to write about. I felt kind of burnt out writing about romantic interests when gender dysphoria was so heavily on me for such a long period of time. So I shelved it, and then I had surgery. And afterwards, I returned to the instrumental, and I was thinking, it sounds inherently romantic, as though I'm singing to someone. So then I just had such a significant procedure. I was like, I don't want to sing to anyone else. I want to sing to myself. And so I talked to my younger self about surgery and the future, and basically just the hope that we're both waiting for a safe future, I guess.
It's such a wonderful song. Another one I love is the second one you just performed, Honey Understand. And I understand you also started with an instrumental for that one. And can you talk about where the lyrics came from? Because I just love this story.
Yeah, I was going insane during quarantine. I was living at home with my family in a condo, very close quarters. I wasn't able to see anyone because I'm immunocompromised. And so I wrote like 10 seasons of a Korean drama screenplay, just from the morning I woke up at like 5 in the morning until 2 in the morning. It was insane. I don't know what I was on, but when I was making the instrumental, I just felt like there was nothing going on in my life because I was just isolated in my home, quarantined. And so I just wrote from the perspective of my Korean drama screenplay characters. And I think that's why sonically it sounds different, because I'm a bit removed from it in terms of the narrative.
Well, I love the fantasy aspect of that. And I also love the image of you being in this small space with your family. You talk about trying to they go out to the grocery store and you stop whatever you're doing to lay down some tracks. I mean, how do you think the record would have been different if you had maybe been in a studio and had all the time in the world that you wanted and could just overthink things? I mean, you just had to, you describe what the process was like recording with so many people around in a small space.
It was hilarious because it was either when they went to the grocery store, I would grab my mic and sing as many takes as possible, or I would go to the other room while my mom was washing dishes, watching Korean dramas. My dad's watching The Price is Right. And I'd be like, can we all just shh for a second? I've got to record vocals for my album. And so that was really funny. And I think it taught me how to record under any circumstance. Of course, I would have loved, maybe a bit more alone time while recording, but I think it taught me how to adapt. And I think it's endearing to know that I recorded that knowing my mom was shh to my dog in the other room.
Did any of them inadvertently make it on the record?
Honestly, maybe, if we peek closely enough at it.
Well, you've been hesitant to call yourself a producer, although you certainly studied it in school and you did an outstanding job here. I mean, how has that feeling changed for you after this incredible record?
Thank you. Yeah, I think in school, I just, there was some internalized, I think, misogyny going on where I felt like I couldn't call myself a producer, even though I knew exactly what I wanted for the songs. And so it got to a point where I was relying on everyone else's schedule. This week we do bass with this person, and it was just taking so long. So that allowed me to have initiative to just be like, I need to do this. And then it just kind of carried on from there. I feel like I'm developing confidence in that way as well, that I feel like a lot of AFAB and non-cis male producers go through as well. Just even having the confidence to say I'm a producer, because it just feels inherently silly for a multitude of reasons. But yeah, I think I'm gotten to a place now where I'm feeling a lot more confident about it.
Well, due to COVID not being able to be around people, you were forced into the situation this time. But when you look towards recording a record in the future, maybe your next one, how do you think you want to approach it? The same way, or you want to try something different?
I think I'm at my best when I'm alone in a room with all of my instruments and I record my own vocals. Because I kind of record vocals in a weird way. I dance and do a lot of yelling for choir sounds. And so I don't know if I could bear myself while someone engineers that. So I think that process will be the same. But then I would love live string and horn arrangements, those kinds of things. And but yeah, typically I feel like it's going to be a similar process.
Well, I'm absolutely loving this record. Stay proud of me, and I appreciate you so much for bringing your band in here to play for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for NoSo joining us live here in the KEXP studios. And thanks to all of our wonderful listeners and supporters. KEXP is listener-powered, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also learn more about us at kexp.org. And if you want to contribute to make sure we can continue to showcase amazing live music like NoSo and so many more. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
You're listening to KEXP, where the music matters. Today we've had NoSo live in our studios.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.